$505 billion. And by the way, I don't like this mic. Whoever the hell bought this mic system, don't pay the son of a bitch to put it in, I'll tell you. These people. No, this mic is terrible. Stupid mic keeps popping. Do you hear that, George? Don't pay him. Don't pay him. You know, I believe in paying. But when somebody does a bad job, like this stupid mic, you shouldn't pay the bastard. Terrible. Terrible. It's true. And you got to be tough with your people because they'll pay. They don't care. They'll pay. So we're not going to pay. I guarantee you I'm not paying for this mic. Every 2 minutes I hear like boom, boom.
So, I don't think this was the engineer's fault at all. I think Trump should have known better as much as he speaks to not eat a microphone, especially a Shure presidential gooseneck. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to show you some ways I use the dynamic EQ to solve things like plosives and problem frequencies. Enjoy the video.
Remember to like and subscribe. Okay, for the first example, I'm going to teach you how to deal with plosives with a handheld mic or a tabletop mic. And this tabletop mic could also be a lectern mic, presidential mic. The process is going to be the same. The first way I would use this for a handheld mic or a podium mic would be to solve plosives. As you can see, we have filter type here. We got like a bell curve, high and low shelf. We're going to start with a low shelf. I'm going to roll my frequency to about 150, 125. 125 is good. And the ratio is going to be how much we're going to cut. And as you can see me talking right here, now I'm going to roll the threshold in as I'm talking. And we don't want my normal speech to be invasive. We only want those plosives. So I'm going to roll it back, and I'm going to use plosives, P's and buzz. Puh, puh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. We shouldn't be getting anything there. But if I go puh, puh, knock it back. Puh, puh, buh, puh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Puh, puh. And we can work it from there. And now, this dynamic EQ is pretty much solving any of the puhs and buzz that come through as plosives. We can get into things like the multiband compressor later, which I used to utilize a lot to solve this very same problem. Now, this is my workflow for plosives. Another common thing people do here is they're going to utilize the second filter inside the dynamic EQ for sibilance. Where here we're going to get a high shelf, and I'm going to bring the ratio in, and I'm just going to do sibilance. And as we could see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is more or less working as a good de-esser on a group level. That's just another common thing that people do. Now, something I do, which may be a little bit more unique, is sometimes I'll set this to like a bell curve. And what I do here is if I have a really problem frequency, maybe it's like just a crappy mic, or I'm just fighting a PA, rather than just getting rid of a ton of frequencies all the time, what I'll do, and it's kind of hard to show you here because I'm in a static environment, but what I would do is if I was receiving feedback, I would roll this to my feedback level, and that it would only duck when the feedback hits in that specific frequency. A good case study is you have talent on a stage, they're walking around with a microphone. Sometimes they're going to cross the field into, right in front of a speaker or something like that. If you can have that isolated ahead of time with this curve, that way you don't have to be so on them, and if they do walk in front of something, this is going to definitely help it out. Now, it's not going to solve it, but it's definitely going to help you out. I want to show you a couple different ways I like to route. All right, the first thing I'm going to show you is from the input level. I do have a microphone routed through the console to the camera recorder. This is a ULXD with a SM58 capsule on top. So, I'm going to go into my rack, premium. I'm going to load dual. I don't need stereo because this is a mono source. Dynamic EQ. And now I'm going to route it from the input insert level. Insert 1, or you can go to insert 2 depending on your signal chain. Insert 1 out, channel 1, and we make sure our signal chain is intact. Cool. That is one way to route it. And then just to check it, we see in here, this is jumping. We know we routed this appropriately. Next, I'm going to show you how to route it as a group. So first, I'm going to send the first 8 channels into mix 1. So, sends on fader, mix 1. And I use set nominal. First 8 are into mix 1. Now I'm going to go to my matrix, and as you can see it's jumping. That's because I've already routed it here so you could hear it. But now mix 1 is routed into matrix 1, and matrix 1 is sent out of Omni 1 into my camera recorder. So some people might be asking, why would you want that set up as a group? Well, what if your first 8 channels were all the same microphone, and you could effectively take care of plosives on a group level? And that's what I've done here. And again, routing will be the same. Going to my rack, premium rack, I'm going to make sure dynamic EQ is loaded, and I can load one again for you. Clear this out. Dual. And now, this time, instead of the input level being routed through, I'm going to insert 1, and I'm going to go to insert 1 out, mix 1. And now we see that jumping. And those 8 microphones that I put into mix 1 are now being sent as a group. And the first insert on that mix is what I'm utilizing for the dynamic EQ. So we've gone over plosives with handhelds. The same process works for lectern mics. Now that second process I showed you with the kind of the bell curve there, again, it was kind of hard for me to show you in this environment because I don't have line arrays or a PA or anything hanging up here, obviously. But if you were using a lapel style microphone, that would be a good place for that to kind of pop in and help you out a lot. Anyway, I hope this has helped. I hope it's been somewhat informative. I use the dynamic EQ for plosives, for sibilance, and then occasional problem frequencies that I only want it to go away at certain times. That way I'm maintaining fidelity with my talent. Hope you had some sort of takeaway. Thanks for watching, and happy mixing. Remember to like and subscribe.